What's up, everybody? Hello and welcome to Not Your Average Meta, an MTG Commander channel dedicated to bringing you decks and commanders you wouldn't normally find in your average meta. This week on Not Your Average Meta, we have our Innistrad Midnight Hunt Showdown, where we played 4 commanders built around legends from the latest Innistrad set. First up, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Martin, making his first appearance on the channel playing Tovolar, the Dire Overlord. This is a human werewolf deck where he looks to flip and flop his humans into vicious werewolves. Next, we have the return of Gavin playing the People's Champ, Sigarda, Champion of Light. This is a human-based deck where Gavin looks to trigger his commander's Covenant ability and sift through his library for powerful human cards. Then we have Justin playing the one Demir Precon deck from the set featuring Wilhelt the Rotcleaver. This is the zombie tribal deck that Justin decided to play unedited straight out of the box. Lastly, we have Fallgirl playing his first not mono-red deck in the last 6 games, and that's because he's playing Adeline or Resplendent Cathar. This is a mono-white soldier-based deck where he looks to spam the board with tokens in order to make his commander big enough to deal lethal commander damage. Now that we have our fighters, let's step into the Thunderdome and see which deck will come out on top. Turn 1, Justin mistakenly plays a tapped Demir Aqueduct and doesn't bounce a land back to hand. Fog draws and plays a tapped Myriad Landscape. Martin plays a mountain for turn, then casts a Reckless Wave and passes. Gavin plays a Plains and taps 1 for Esper Sentinel. Justin plays a Choked Estuary, then taps 2 for a Dreadhorde Invasion. Fog plays a Plains for turn, then taps 1 to cast Skull Clamp, paying 1 for the Sentinel. Martin draws and plays a Forest, before going to combat and swinging his Waif at Justin for 1. Gavin plays Castle Ardenvale for turn, and a Mana Crypt, before casting Elspeth, Sun's Champion, down-ticking her, creating 2 human soldiers. On his upkeep, Justin loses a life and amasses 1 before drawing. He then plays an island for turn, and taps out to cast his commander Wilhelt. He then goes with his instep, a decayed zombie. Fog on taps, and then plays another Plains. He then taps 2 to sack his landscape to go get 2 more Plains. At the beginning of Martin's turn, his Waif then flips. Martin then casts his commander Tovolar, turning his field daybound. He then swings his Predator at Fog for 3, triggering his commander, and he draws a card. Gavin wins his Mana Crypt roll and then plays a Forest. He then taps out to cast his commander Sigarda. He then goes to combat swinging his 2 soldiers at Fog for 4. On his upkeep, Justin loses a life and amasses 1 before drawing. He then plays a Swamp for turn. He then casts Endless Ranks of the Dead. He then goes to his instep, drawing a card and getting a decayed zombie. Fog plays another Plains for turn to cast Daxos, Blessed by the Sun. He then taps 3 more to cast his commander Adeline, gaining 1 life. On his upkeep, Martin flips his Predator back into Reckless Wave. He then draws for turn and plays another Forest. He then taps 3 to cast Fires of Yavimaya. Gavin wins his Mana Crypt roll a second time, then plays a Mana Confluence and pays 1 to cast Soul Ring. He then goes to combat and swings his soldier at Martin and his 4/4 commander Justin. On his upkeep, Justin loses a life and amasses 1 before drawing. He then plays his Swamp and casts Eternal Skylord. He then goes to his instep, sacking his army, drawing a card and getting a decayed zombie. Fog plays a Rogue's Passage for turn. He then taps 3 for Radiant Destiny, having achieved the city's blessing. He then taps 3 more to cast Sanctuary Lockdown. He then goes to combat swinging his commander at Martin, creating 3 human soldiers and gains 3 life. Martin untaps a turn and plays another mountain. He then casts Breakneck Rider and a Scorned Villager and passes. Gavin wins a 3rd Crypt roll and then draws for turn. He then plays another Plains and casts Shalai Voice of Plenty and Throne of the God Pharaoh. He then down-ticks Elspeth, creating 2 more soldiers and goes to combat swinging his commander at Fog for 4. At his instep, his opponents all lose 1 life. On his upkeep, Justin loses a life and amasses 1 before drawing. He then creates 2 zombie tokens and plays an island for turn. He then casts Gravespawn Sovereign and then goes to his instep, sacking his army, drawing a card, and getting a decayed zombie. Fog plays a Plains for turn that taps 5 for Elspeth Tyrell. He then upticks her, gaining 5 life. He then goes to combat swinging his commander, his soldier tokens, and his new tap tokens at Gavin, gaining 3 life. Gavin triple blocks Adeline and 1 soldier, then takes 9 damage. Martin plays a land and casts Kessig Cagebreakers and Kessig Forgemaster and passes. Gavin wins his 4th Mana Crypt roll in a row, then draws for turn. He then plays another Plains and takes 1 from his Mana Confluence and casts Sereth the Viper's Fang. But before combat, Fog taps 2 humans he controls to taps down Shalai. Gavin then goes to combat swinging his commander and soldier at Fog. We all then lose 2 life at his instep. On his upkeep, Justin loses a life and amasses 1 before drawing. He then casts Forgotten Creation. He then goes to his instep, sacking his army, drawing a card, and getting a decayed zombie. Fog draws for turn, then taps out to cast Launch the Fleet for 6, targeting 6 soldier tokens. Fog then swings his 6 soldier tokens at Gavin, creating 6 more tokens attacking Gavin as well. In response, Gavin casts Teferi's Protection, phasing him out of the game. Second main, Fog upticks Elspeth, gaining 13 life. Martin draws return to cast Convicted Killer and Hermit of Natter Knolls. Gavin finally loses the crypt roll and takes 3 damage. He then casts Champion of the Parish and Knight of the Reliquary. He then swings Shalai at Elspeth and his commander and tokens at Fog for 6. Sigarda then triggers Covenant and he looks at his top 5 cards, revealing Luminarch Aspirant. He then casts the Aspirant and moves to his instep where we all lose 3 life. On his upkeep, Justin loses a life and amasses 1 before drawing. He then creates 6 zombie tokens. He then plays a command tower and goes to his instep, sacking his decayed zombie, drawing a card. At the beginning of Fog's turn, Dave flips the Knight and all of Martin werewolves transform. Fog draws for turn and casts Sworn Companions, getting 2 soldier tokens. Fog then swings at Gavin with his tokens, who blocks 2 of the humans and takes 24, going down to 3. Fog then downticks Elspeth to destroy all non-land, non-token permanents. He then casts Rock's Pikemaster. On Martin's upkeep, Night turns back into day, and Martin then recasts his commander and passes. Gavin draws for turn and uses his castle to create another soldier token. Justin plays an Exotic Orchard for turn, then casts a Cemetery Reaper. After which we realize it should be night again, and Martin flips his commander to Tovolar, the Midnight Scourge. Fog draws and recasts his commander, then goes to combat. He swings his 10 humans and Pikemaster at Martin, and his 2 soldiers at Gavin. Martin blocks the Pikemaster and still takes 10, getting knocked out of the game, while Gavin flashes in Guardian of Faith, blocking 1 soldier and taking 1 from his mana confluence, going down to 1 life. Gavin draws for turn and says he's going out on his own terms and taps his mana confluence to take 1 damage. At the end of Gavin's turn, Justin casts Go for the Throat, targeting Adeline. In response, Fog cycles Forsake the Worldly, drawing a card. Adeline then goes to the command zone. Justin draws for turn and plays an island. He casts Liliana's Mastery, creating 2 more zombie tokens. Fog on taps return, then taps 5 for Knight, Captain of Eos, and getting 2 more soldier tokens. Justin draws for turn and plays a Swamp. He then recasts his commander. He then goes with his instep, sacking his army, drawing a card, and getting a decayed zombie. Fog draws for turn, and then taps 2 for Moon Silver Key. He then taps 1 to sack the key, and goes and gets a coveted jewel. He then shuffles up and casts a coveted jewel, drawing 3 cards and passing. Justin draws for turn and casts Rooftop Storm. He then casts Corpse Augur for free and goes to his instep, sacking a decayed zombie and drawing a card. Fog draws for turn, then recasts his commander and passes. Justin draws for turn, then casts Distant Melody, drawing 18 cards. He then casts Tomb Tyrant, Undead Alchemist, Gorax the Tome Shell, Cleaver Scab, Gleaming Overseer, Undead Augur, and Diregroove Colossus for free because of his Rooftop Storm. He then casts Curse of the Restless Dead on Fog, and destroys his Captain of Eos with Feed the Swarm, losing 5 life. Fog then knows he's outnumbered by zombies and concedes the game. The big winner of today's game was Justin playing his Wilhelt zombie deck. The Precon zombie deck from this set is one of the better out-of-the-box Precons I can say that I've seen in recent memory. I highly suggest it to anybody trying to get into Commander. This also makes straight out-of-the-box Precons 2-0 on the channel. The MVP of today's game is hands down Rooftop Storm. This is a very strong reprint that was much needed. The ability to cast any zombie for 0 is just insanely strong. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you can see more games and decks you wouldn't normally see in your average meta.